Hello, this is RICKY, the Android guy. Alright guys, so this is the main event, the comparison, the iPhone 4S versus the Samsung Galaxy S3. So, which one will come out on top? Well, let's take a look. First, let's start off with the first category, which is look and feel. Look and feel, the iPhone has not changed over the past 2 years. Ever since the 4 came out, it kept the same kind of design, which is a glass as well as a steel kind of frame. Now this steel has caused a lot of issues though in terms of antenna, both on the 4S and the 4. But it does have a nice soft touch to it. Just a little fragile when it comes to obviously dropping because of the glass on both the front and the back screen. The Samsung Galaxy S3 uses a polycarbonate backing with Gorilla Glass 2 on the front, so you do not need a screen protector for scratches. However, the back is polycarbonate. It is a plastic, but it's very durable plastic. It's kind of like comparing a champagne glass to Gorilla Glass 2. It's a huge difference in terms of durability. In terms of dropping this one though, of course, you know, you still have a chance of it going bad, so that's going to be with any phone between the two, you know, because of the fragile parts. But the nice part about this one is it definitely feels good in the hand, and that curve really helps it. Whereas the iPhone, it feels good for smaller hands, but definitely if you have just regular size, it's kind of been a little dated now. As we've seen, everyone has about a 4-inch screen now, which the iPhone 5 will have a 4.1, so it'll finally catch up to the world. Other than that though, look and feel really goes down to a preference on this. I personally like this feel better, but I know a lot of people that love the heavy weight of the iPhone better and the way it feels better in their hands. So it's going to be a preference. I'm not going to go either way with that one. Now in terms of music player, let's go to both music. And let's play. Lift it up. And let's play here. Alright, so those are the two music players. They both have do really well in terms of music players actually. The Samsung is louder in its native music player compared to Google Music, which I prefer. But I mean, overall, they both still sound really good. There's no kind of distortion on any of the songs or anything like that. So really good overall for playing music. And it's just your preference, whether you prefer music player here or music player here. They both have good equalizers, good apps to play otherwise, like Spotify and Pandora and things like that. So for music player, they're both pretty good. They both have a lot of ones overall. Both of them are going to be on the iPhones are on the bottom on one side, and the Samsung is at the top on the other side. So the Samsung can be louder, but both are clarified. So I mean, if you want a louder one, you would go with this one, but clarity is pretty good on both. So in terms of movies, let's see how a video plays on it. And we'll go to Galaxy. Put this one, this. Oop.
Director Fury, I think it's time.
Sorry, we had a buffer of that. Both of these have had issues today with our Wi-Fi connection here, so this one was just still buffering because I couldn't download the video to it. But One thing obviously you notice is the screen size difference, obviously. This one's definitely going to be better for watching movies and you have it. Even if you do the expanding to full screen, then you zoom in and you actually lose most of the screen. Or you can do a little black bar. Now with the Samsung, when you do have a video saved onto it, obviously you have a really cool feature, which is called pop-up play. So you can actually watch the movie while doing anything else on your phone. So it's a really cool feature. It's unique. It's something unique only to Samsung Galaxy S3, and it just really helps out a lot. Now in terms of battery life, there is really no question that the Samsung Galaxy S3 has a much better battery life, even with 4G LTE. It lasts longer. It has a bigger screen, and yet it's able to still keep a longer battery life. Now this is done through Samsung having a much bigger battery at 2100 milliamps compared to the iPhones. I want to say 1650. It's been so long they haven't improved their battery, which to get to their credit they will on the iPhone 5. So you know, a little disclaimer, they are improving the battery on the iPhone 5, but they're gonna have to deal with the bigger screen for the first time and 4G LTE, which Samsung has done well at. It's actually the only manufacturer that I would say has really done a long battery life, with the exception of Motorola. They're the only ones that have done really long battery life on a really good phone. So battery life will definitely go to the Samsung. In a recent study, talk time, Samsung actually doubled the iPhone. So in terms of battery life overall, you are going to definitely go with the Samsung. Now in terms of gaming, both have a plethora of games. The nice thing about the Samsung is that, you know, all the games are compatible with it now. Which it was for about a week or so where we didn't have all the games working for it now. As now any high-end game you can play just fine on the Samsung, which would have been Apple's advantage, but since the Samsung can play all the games, it does have a better graphics card, better processor, as well as you can actually use a gaming controller like the PS3 when you connect it directly to it. It actually definitely will take the gamers. If you are into gaming and you do want a phone for gaming, you want the Galaxy S3. There's really no other gaming phone in the market that can do what it can do. And if you haven't checked it out, check out our gaming review on it. Now in terms of screen quality, well, you can kind of see from the different viewing angles that the Samsung screen is Super AMOLED, so you have a lot better viewing angles. And obviously a really good clarity. The pixel densities are similar, with the iPhone having a slightly greater one, but when you're viewing actual web pages, which we're going to get to next, you can actually see there's a huge difference in the clarity of it. So let me zoom in a little bit. And just the text is a little bit finer. Samsung uses a Roboto font that's on Android 4.0. That just makes it look really a lot sharper compared to the old-fashioned Histakia. I forget the name of the font, but yeah. It's definitely going to be a lot sharper and nicer on this one than that. And obviously the colors are just going to be a lot more bold, which we'll get to when we review the camera. So now web browsing. Now I'm going to be using the Chrome browser just because that is going to be the new stock browser for Android, so I'll just be going over that one. And on Apple, of course, I'll be using Safari. Now first thing, obviously you'll notice a huge difference in terms of screen. Now one thing I can't stand about the iPhone is that it takes you to a mobile site and you can't just make it a desktop site. You actually have to find their link for a full site. Whereas on the Android device, all you do is push menu and request desktop site. That's how I got to the desktop site. So one thing you'll notice, I can kind of notice it more with my eyes than on the camcorder, but this red is actually really red, whereas here it's a bit dull on it. And let's pinch to zoom. So in terms of speed of double tap, the Galaxy S3 is slightly beating it. We'll see about pinch to zoom though. So both are pretty fluid when it comes to pinch to zoom. There's no real lag on either one. But obviously the bigger real estate on the Galaxy S3 can help out because you can see more of the site. So if I just go like this, I can't really read that on the iPhone obviously. And actually let me zoom in a little bit more to be fair. Yeah, it's about the same distance. I can read this a lot easier on the Samsung Galaxy S3 compared to the iPhone just because of the bigger screen real estate, and I can obviously get more of the website. So it's just a really nice feature, of course, for web browsing. Now let's check out a different tab. Now these are both using browsers that do not use Flash, so just to clarify that, because I've had some complaints about using a Flash browser. So I'm using Chrome now, so it does not use Flash. It's HTML5 only. And again, you can see just the difference in screen, of course, that you can actually see the entire website on the Samsung Galaxy S3, whereas on the iPhone, you only get to about here. So this is how much of a difference you get on the website in comparison to them. That you get basically a lot, I mean, you're cut off basically about that much. So for web browsing, it's an obvious choice. The S3 will definitely be the better one to go for. Oops. And pinch to zoom. Again, both are very fluid, not too much to go off of in terms of this doesn't keep doing the bookmarks. Sorry, I'm not used to such a small screen. But yeah, so that's it. They're both fluid, both work very well in terms of moving around. You're not going to have any kind of hesitation for it. The main thing is just the screen size is where web browsing really stands apart, simply for the fact that you have a lot more on a page with the S3, as we can see. Alright, and now the cameras. So let's take a look at some photos we took. Alright, now this is a big thing, of course, to all of us, so let's see. So on these shots, this over. On these shots, Samsung already has been shown that it does better in low light. However, in the color reproduction as well as the low light, we see a lot of noise in the circular area right here, where it's a bit more distinguished, the lines between here and the white, the blue and the white on here. As well as the green is definitely more faded on here, where it's a bit more pronounced over here. So color reproduction definitely goes to the S3. And now for the glass. So again, in terms of sharpness, we can definitely see around the G area right here and around the O's that it's just a lot sharper comparing the two. And also over here we can actually see that it is engraved in the cup on the G, whereas here it's a bit fuzzy. Now I did both of them, I did touch to focus, so this was just doing touch to focus and taking the photo. So in terms of camera, it is definitely going to be the Galaxy S3. Alright guys, so now in terms of price, well, they're the same price actually. They both go for $199 on contract, which just seems a little silly to me. The iPhone hasn't dropped to like $99. It's not going to sell that much at this price for $199 compared to the S3. It's just a much better phone, and I mean in terms of speed, they both just have a fluidity about them that just makes it really well off. So they're really well off, and I mean in terms of the fact that, you know, operating system is always going to be a preference. You have simplicity versus, you know, being able to do things quicker and customizing them to your liking. So in terms of that, it'll always be a preference, but for the same price, oops, sorry guys, almost knocked the camcorder over. In terms of price, it's going to go down to the S3, better deal for the price. And overall, I mean, the Samsung Galaxy S3 just doesn't lose really anything compared to the iPhone at the moment, whereas the iPhone obviously definitely has lacking features compared to the S3. So if you're going to get a phone right now, guys, the Galaxy S3 is the one to get. Alright, if you have any other questions or comments, like I know you guys will, feel free to ask or leave down below. This has been RICKY, the Android Guy.